Okie dokie, everybody. Welcome back. You're here at the Fox Den with Pater Voss, the Papa Fox, and we are going to continue playing Pillars of Eternity, the White March DLC by Obsidian Entertainment. When we last left off, we had explored much of this place, White March, I believe. It's the name of the town. Let's just make sure we got... Yeah, the White March. And now we're in the Gref's Rest, which is the local tavern and inn. So let's be about that. I don't
Back
know
to
if
warm your hands, eh? What can I do for you?
Thought you might like to... Okay, so... there we go. Thought you might like to know that Rayfald asked me to steal your liquor.
He did he? That shifty little crook never learns. I'll have it put away somewhere safe. Thank you for doing the decent thing. Here, for your honesty.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
Indeed.
Okay, there's a cook. Okay. Villagers. What's over here? Ah! Some more people to talk to.
Still can't feel my fingers.
That sucked.
Thought I'd found shelter when I stumbled across this little village. Guessing you did too, huh?
Farah raises a frosty mug to you. Even the warmth of the hearth reaches you here. Her hands are wrapped in weird wool and her ears muffled by a hat. Her face has the taut, wind-beaten look of someone who's recently come from the road.
As much blood as there was in the streets, I'm lucky the ale's still flowing.
She takes a drink, and as she tilts her head back, you see a bruise purpling her jaw and the crimson bloom of scraped knuckles. What exactly happened to you?
Thought all the whispers about Durgan's battery were just village superstition. And maybe they are. But I might have been on my guard if I'd listened. I was part of an expedition, hunting for relics from Durgan's battery. And picked up a good haul, too.
She takes a slow swallow of her beer.
So it figures that's when the winds pick up and the sky starts dumping snow. We lost sight of the road. Meanwhile, something else found us. Took Liam out before we even realized we were surrounded. And then we see him coming out of the snow. These little four-armed wilder. Lagufoth, they're called.
She shakes her head, staring at the embers in the fire pit.
Quick little bastards. Francesca and I held them off as long as we could, but when they filled her full of darts, I turned tail and ran. Found my way here and thanked my luck for escaping the Lagufoth. Then come to find out that this town's got an ogre problem.
She laughs bitterly, just like I did. Oh, by the way, how are you all doing? I'm doing absolutely wonderfully. If my voice sounds a little bit like it has a frog in it, it's because it does. I just got done with a cold, or maybe I'm still suffering from the after effects, but either way, that's why I sound a little strange and gravelly, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are you going to do now?
I need to get those artifacts. Not that I'm in any shape to go after them myself. But I can't afford to return to Defiance Bay without something to show for my expedition.
Apprehension creeps into her expression. She stares into her mug, swirling its contents.
But you've got your own expedition to the battery, don't you? While you're out there, maybe you could look for my goods. Whatever's left of them.
She looks up from her mug, hopeful.
I'll give you a cut for anything you bring back, of course. I ain't asking for charity. I just can't afford to go home empty-handed.
She brushes her nails along the side of her mug as that anxious look returns. Tell me what you're looking for.
Like I said, we were treasure hunting near Durgan's battery when we were ambushed.
Not enough perception.
What else do you want to know?
Why are these relics important to you?
We took out several loans to pay for our trip out here. I'm gonna have trouble if I don't pay them back.
Remind me of where I can find your caravan?
What's left of it should be near Durgan's battery. If you stumble across the Lagufoth, you'll know you're close.
What do you know about the Durgan's battery?
Just that it's been locked up tight for 200 years on account of those dwarves having a row. Which means that any trinkets from inside fetch a nice price. Sorry, I'm more of a businesswoman than a historian.
There you go. Alright, goodbye. Alright, we'll definitely keep an eye out. Let's talk with Bertrand. Hey there! Good timing. You can watch me trounce Bertrand. Says Andred. Alcohol and sharp objects. This won't end well. Once, Adrian. You won once. What are you playing? Orland's head. Andred grins sheepishly. That's her. Well, that's what they call it anyhow. Smooth. You pick a target, see, nose or ears. Nose is worth more, but you've got 2 ears to work with. You get less points the further out from the target you get, so for the mouth and eyes, no points if you miss. Fancy a game? 3 throws each, and whoever gets the most points by the end of it wins the wager. I'll put down 50 pans, if you will. Can you explain the targets again? Sure, okay. That's a little tasteless. Hey, I didn't name it. Okay. Not like we're using a real Orland. No. Okay. Yeah, I don't really want to get into the business of throwing stuff at people just yet. Here's some children. Hello. Buy us some wine, mister? Oh, no. No, 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 no. No, I don't believe I will. Could talk with her. Let's talk with Alif.
Not to be rude, but I'm rather busy. Can't you get another room?
The Erland turns and glances past you with a quick, nervous motion. His ears, shredded and scalloped at the edges, are pressed against his skull. Hayfrick sent me to check on you. He dislikes Orland, so of course he thinks you're up to something.
He... what? Oh no. No.
He runs his claws through his hair and tugs at his long, ragged ears. Can't imagine why he'd think a thing like that.
Is she there? Did you see her?
He leans around you, peering at the doorway. Who are you talking about?
Devala. That woman. The slaver, she...
Devala? That sounds familiar. We might have met her. It's been a while since I recorded last. He swallows.
I was a slave in Raid Ceres. I ran away. Made it here. The mountains are usually the best place to lose slavers, but Devala's one of the best.
His hands tremble as he picks at his worn tunic. Zaho's face darkens. As long as slavers haunt his steps, there can be no freedom for his spirit. Let's see. That's terrible. Perhaps we should tell someone. Stalwart wouldn't stand for this.
Slavery may be illegal here, but I wouldn't be the first runaway to get nabbed in a town like this, while some local trapper gets a nice payday.
Yeah, okay.
Besides, you spoke with Havrick. I've kept him myself and paid on time, and he assumes the worst.
Yeah, true.
I just want to get out of here. I've scraped together enough money to reach New Haelmar.
Okay. New Haelmar? That's hardly an improvement. He stops himself, eyes wide. I mean, it's lovely. You'll love it.
But the locals talk about a Raid Saren party, camped west of town.
He worries at a ragged shirt sleeve.
It's got to be Devala. She's been after me since the foothills. I'll pay you if you can get rid of her. I don't care how.
I'll do it.
Thank you. But be careful. She wouldn't have come alone.
Yeah, sure, I can deal with the slaver. Okay, cool. Wonderful. Let's talk with this woman. Can I take anything here? No.
Excuse me, was there something you need?
She knits her fingers together and looks intently at the floor. Okay, farewell. Okay. Good. Alright, let's go out. And let's see if we can talk to the leader of this place. I think there's only one last place for us to take a look at. Huzzah. Deedly doodly doo doo, deedly doodly doo. I do believe after I finish this recording, I think I might have a second glass of wine. Alrighty. Yes, let's go in.
I still can't believe the tablet is truly gone. Years of study, only to find a little pile of stones.
There is no greater suffering of the soul than failure.
Every piece of evidence pointed to that tablet, and now it is out of reach forever.
Your life's work was for nothing.
Well, now, that's not quite... I mean, we did learn more about the Engwithins than just about anyone else alive.
Shh. Do not ruin this for me.
Oh, he's so much fun, even though I disagree with a lot of his stuff. Okay, let's go in here. Alrighty. We're about to move forward with
They've
the...
destroyed the stockade, Mother! It's...
Enough. They're gone.
She holds up a hand, which is missing the final joint of the ring finger, but it's her voice, sharp and steely, that silences the young man. As he glowers at his toes, she turns to you with dark circles under her eyes and a smile pulled taut across her thin lips.
The deliverer of Cadnua. Thank you for making the journey. Abidan knows it's a long one. Well, I'm sure you wagered on a more civilized welcome. Still, we're much obliged for your capable intervention.
She shoots the young man a brief but stern glare. He pulls a knife from his belt and an apple from his pocket and sets to work. It was no trouble. I'm here to help however I can.
Then perhaps you can help us find something.
She folds the page in her hand with a quick and merciless pinch.
Stalwart isn't much more than a grease stain on a map. What roads we've got in the White March are basically tracks in the snow. And for every trader or adventurer that comes through, 3 of our own leave for good. But it weren't always so. There was a time when kings and queens sent their firstborn to these mountains, when the White March was the envy of empires.
Her eyes shine, and for an instant, she looks like a much younger woman. How the mighty have fallen. What an era that must have been for the White March.
The Pargrin dwarves transformed the White March once. We could bring some of that greatness back to Stalwart. But we need the White Forge.
She raises the map and taps a spot in the middle of the white and gray expanse. Never heard of it.
Of course. Been over 200 years since anyone's felt so much as a summery breeze near it.
She smooths the creased map.
I'm hoping you can do something about that.
She ignores the young man, who shakes his head at the crackling logs. Me? Work a forge? I've never done anything like that.
I'm not asking you to work the White Forge. I want you to find it.
Okay.
We've been trying to breach Durgan's battery for over a year now. Problem is, the other expeditions can't so much as dent the front door.
She rubs at her fatigue-shadowed eyes. Tell me about these other expeditions.
A dozen different groups have come through at our request, and several more besides. Been hoping that one of them could clear the way through Durgan's battery.
I think we're going to find a lot of loot from these other different groups.
But young or old, green or seasoned, it don't seem to matter. They cast their spells, chisel at the door, and search the grounds until they've worn new treads into the old stone. The lucky ones eventually go home. Plenty more find themselves on the wrong side of a blizzard, or an ogre raiding party.
Why the sudden interest in the White Forge?
We're an old mining town. Or we were until the Adirans pulled out and left us with a half-dug mine shaft and something resembling an inn.
She thumps the sturdy wooden wall with her fist.
Since then, it's been a steady decline. You've seen the roads. Isn't much we can produce that the Valians can't ship cheaper.
Yeah, that's true.
But the White Forge... well, if we could fire it up again and start producing Durgan steel, or something close to it, wouldn't matter if we're in the White March or the Living Lands. Business would come.
She folds her arms and gives you a stiff nod. The young man says nothing, but he tosses a sliver of apple peel into the fireplace. And that's why you need my help.
That's the long and short of it. We're laborers and fisherfolk, not adventurers. But Durgan steel could put Stalwart on the map again. Open up the mines, bring in new business. We just need the White Forge.
She thumps the desk with her fist. Why is Durgan steel so special?
Because you can shave stone with it, cleave cast iron in two, and the stuff's as rare as it is remarkable.
In her enthusiasm, Renegild shifts on the balls of her feet. She props one bent arm on the other, pointing distractedly towards the eaves of the house. If you had a suit of armor made out of that, bet people get real tired of trying to stab at you after a while and just give up.
If we could make something even half as good, we'd have a market at our doorstep and work enough for all of Stalwart.
For a split second, her gaze flickers to Uldric. How is it no one's gotten into Durgan's battery yet?
Where should I start? Ogres, blizzards, or sheer damned inaccessibility?
She ticks the items off on her fingers.
It ain't for lack of trying, I'll tell you that much. Got untold riches in Durgan's steel lying just inside, and never mind the White Forge itself. The Adirans who first settled Stalwart tried to crack it. So did the Valians, and every other cocky adventurer with more metal than sense.
She folds her arms, shaking her head at the pitted floorboard.
But the place has a funny way of sealing itself up. Front door stays shut, the tower entrances are clogged with rubble, and it's been impossible to blast a way in.
Renegild trails off, and for a moment the room is silent but for the popping and crackling of the fire. What happened to Durgan's battery?
It don't bear dwelling on. There's too many superstitions about that place as it is.
She waves her mangled hand in a broad crescent, averting her gaze.
Killed each other off. Or so the old books say.
He glares at Renegild through hooded eyes.
Plenty of tales to go around, but none of them open the battery. And the last thing people need is another reason to fear the place.
Kith do enjoy their ghost stories, though the Glanfathans take theirs very seriously.
Whatever it was, the other Pargrin dwarven settlements in the White March, Bone Picker, the Hawk, and the rest, emptied out not long after. Moved to gentler, greener lands.
Had the right idea, if you ask me.
I don't see why you need the White Forge to make good steel.
Finally, someone talking sense.
He raises his knife and half-peeled apple to the fire in a dramatic gesture of exasperation.
Durgan's steel wasn't just good. It was some of the best. We need the best if we're going to keep Stalwart alive.
She glares at Uldric even while she speaks to you.
No one alive today has seen the White Forge, but the old stories tell that it was powerful, glowed white-hot, and gave off a steady, even heat, unlike any other furnace.
Huh.
Let better-schooled folk puzzle over how the thing was built. I just want to see it put to use.
I like her. She's very practical in this regard. The artistry. I love the art in this game. It's beautiful stuff. And the voice actors for the White March DLC, I wish they had been able to do the entire game like this. Tell me about the Pargrin dwarves.
Pargrin's a word in their language. Means traveler. They've been wanderers for generations, but I couldn't tell you much more.
All right. Any idea of where I should begin?
The battery's up the mountain to the north. A good hike away.
She jerks her head in the direction of the slope behind the house.
Near Galvino's place, huh?
Uldric says it in a breezy tone, but Renegild falls suddenly silent, consternation hardening the lines on her face. He smiles and draws his knife across the apple again.
So it is. Though I was going to suggest dealing with that ogre camp before anything.
She compresses her thin lips into a frown. Who's Galvino?
Mestre Galvino, as the old crosspatch prefers it. Lives by himself and keeps the wilder and beasts at bay through sheer foulness of his temper.
Alrighty.
She means to say he's a skilled smith and animancer, who's lived in the shadow of Durgan's battery for over a decade.
Wow. He looks over his shoulder at you and Renegild. He must be made out of stern stuff. And by Animancy's flimsy standards, that makes him an expert, does it? He folds his arms.
And he butters his bread on both sides and fits his left shoe before his right. But that's neither here nor there.
She crosses her arms and crumples the page in one tightening fist. I see.
Ain't nobody here fond of the man, but he's a clever hand and a quick study. It's a fool who thinks he stayed so close to the battery without figuring something about it.
True.
You said as much to the last party, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of him since. Maybe they didn't run afoul of Baragon's ogres after all.
She raises a gray eyebrow at him. Uldric shrugs and turns back to the fire.
Just watch your step. Galvino's place is a ways east of the battery, and folk who pass it bring unsettling tales.
Tell me about the ogre camp.
Belongs to Flames That Whisper, Matron Baragon's clan. Hunters tell me they've been active of late.
Hunting elk and otherwise minding their own damn business.
He pops an apple wedge into his mouth and chews it aggressively.
Minding their own business. Never mind the latest expedition's disappearance, or the broken stockade.
She pinches the bridge of her nose, squinting.
I'm saying we shouldn't agitate him further.
He makes to toss another slice of peel into the fire, but he fumbles and drops the knife. He bends to pick it up, cursing. What does the matron have to do with anything?
The brawl outside was just the latest patch of trouble. The ogre clans are getting bolder, and we'll all sleep easier knowing they aren't circling our walls. Also, Baragons like to have whatever the last expedition found. Rumor has it they disappeared near her turf.
She crosses her arms and looks over to Uldric.
Killing a matron will only make our problems worse. The way to approach Baragon is with your hands held high.
If anyone could parley with an ogre, I suppose it'd be you. But they aren't known for their patience with prattle.
Got it.
Good. Before you leave town, stop by the Grave's Rest. Most visitors to Stalwart spend some time there, so Hafric and his patrons may be able to give you the lay of the land.
Okay. Don't know about you, but I'm parched all of a sudden. Actually,
What's on your mind?
Okay. Tell me about Farah's expedition.
Who? Sorry, I don't recall the name.
Browse fur.
Last expedition I met disappeared weeks ago. Didn't give any names, but they definitely haven't come back this way. Don't mean the Farah weren't part of an expedition, though. We get groups passing by sometimes looking to try their luck. What's on your mind?
Can you tell me anything about the last expedition?
They didn't volunteer much, and I knew better than to ask. I've seen all types charging through here. Professional companies with shiny new equipment as brazen as you please, and hopeless runts with nothing but tattered leathers. But these folk, I don't know what they were after, and the way they looked at you made you feel cold all over.
She shakes her head as if dislodging a bad dream.
Wish I could tell you more.
Perhaps we'll find more in the battery itself, yes? He nods at you with a guarded look.
What's on your mind?
Questions?
The Pargrin dwarves guarded it. What's on your mind? Adir founded us back in their colonial days to supply ore to the Empire. Saw a fair bit of traffic from both sides of the White March then.
She rubs the number for a shortened ring finger.
But after the Deerwood claimed independence, Defiance Bay found cheaper places to get ore. Didn't have much reason to maintain our supply routes.
Isn't Stalwart part of the Deerwood?
Officially. Though with the state the roads are in, you wouldn't guess it.
What do you do here?
I'm the mayor. Or so I'm reminded every time there's a game shortage, ogre attack, or a neighborly dispute. I'm a builder by trade, though. Traveled all over Air Glonfoth and the Deerwood in my younger days, but ended up back here anyway.
She gives you a vague smile that's gone as quickly as it appears. Tell me some more about important places around town.
Here in the center? Let's see. The Grave's Rest is next door. Hafric can set you up with a room and a hot meal there. The fishery's just on the edge of the lake, and the Temple of Andra is next to it. No one keeps a secret like Lavda. Or so I'm told. A few folk live in this part of town, too. Seemed a lot safer before the ogres broke through the western gate. Thiersch lives next to the old mine shaft, and Tana, the old mine overseer, is next door to me. What's on your mind?
Very well. Okay, well, that's going to be the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like or give me some feedback if you prefer. Of course, as always, great to see you all here at the Fox Den. Hope you come back next time and to pull up a chair for some more Pillars of Eternity, the White March DLC. Alrighty, you all take care now. Bye.